Thanks to Best Buy for sponsoring this video. It has been a year since Apple released what I think is the most stereotypical Apple product they've ever made. Anything you can think of to make fun of Apple and also praise Apple is incorporated into AirPods Max. And that means there are some really good things about them and then some things that just, they don't add up. And now that I've been using them for the better part of a year, I've got a lot of thoughts and they have changed since I first got them. And these have quickly become one of my favorite products, but also one of the hardest to recommend. These are an expensive pair of headphones, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but you would hope that for that price, you're getting a product that is quality, that's going to last. And after a year, I have to say that that is the case. These look perfect and I use them every single day. So I put them on in the morning when I'm working at my desk and I take them off, put them on the table, walk around the house. That's pretty much my use case. I'm working on my computer or I'm walking around the house. I don't really take these out all that much, although I do travel with them if I ever go traveling, which isn't all that often these days. But through all of that use, they look perfect. You wouldn't know that they have been used as heavily as they are. So a few things I was worried about is first just scratches and durability of the actual ear cups because they are aluminum, and if you've ever used like an aluminum iPhone, like an iPhone 12 or 13, or even like your iPad or your MacBook, it is much easier to get that either dented or scratched than you might think. Sure, it's metal, but it's still pretty fragile. But I mean, I haven't really babied these. I use them as I would really any other pair of headphones and they still look perfect. There's no scratches, there's no dents, anything like that. And I do like, place them down on the table with some force. I mean, like I'm not thinking about it is basically what I'm trying to say. I just put them on the table, but they still look perfect. So that is great. And same goes for the adjustments. They are still solid, like they're not slipping or anything. And the stainless steel in there actually doesn't look too scratched or too bad or anything. And that's usually one of the first things that's always gets some marring on it, but looks fine. And then we get to the ear cups, and that is where, it's really hit or miss depending on what your use cases is. Obviously, if you're using these for, let's say, very intensive activities, like things that are gonna make you sweat, then these ear cups are probably not gonna last you too long. Like I said, I use these mainly at my desk, so that's not happening all that often. Although, if I am like, say, building a piece of furniture or moving stuff around or something like that at the house, I'm usually wearing these too. So there have been some times where, I've gotten a little sweat there, but still look perfect. Ear cups are great. But I do like that they're so easily replaceable. Sometimes I just find myself playing with them, popping off with the magnets. It's nice that you can buy new ones very quickly and easily and just swap them on. You can even change the colors if you wanted to just by buying a different color. I haven't done that because I haven't needed to replace them, but once I do, if I ever do, then I will probably, I'll probably get white, even though that'll probably last way less time. But hey, mix and match the colors, it's kind of a cool look. The only place I've noticed some degradation, and it's kind of hard to tell if there even is or if it's just something I can't remember, but I've noticed it, is on the top band. Now, it's still very comfortable, everything's good there, but it does feel a little bit more squishy. That mesh that is covering the top of your head, on mine at least, doesn't feel quite as supportive as it used to. But again, still comfortable and everything looks good. But that was the thing I was worried the most about these, is just the durability. I'm paying a lot of money up front and then suddenly they're gonna look like crap a few months later. But they don't. That has held up. And that is good because other AirPod products, like for me, the AirPods Pro, those have not held up at all. I've had to get mine replaced twice. They're dirty, they're scratched. I mean, that's fine because that's that kind of product, but for this price, I'm glad these have stood the test of time. Durability gets a check, but that doesn't mean they get off the hook. The biggest issue with these by far, even now a year later, is the price. $550 for a pair of headphones just seems ridiculous. And honestly, it is. It's really hard to justify. I justify it in my head because I don't have a good reason. I just did it. But luckily, now that we are a year in, there's a lot more ways to save some money on AirPods Max. And that brings us to today's sponsor, Best Buy. So I'm sure you've heard of Best Buy, but it's one of the best places to buy the tech that you're looking for. And with their top deals section that refreshes every single week, you not only can get that tech, but you can get it at the best prices possible. And these deals are for really anything you can think of: smartphones, TVs, appliances, headphones like the AirPods Max. You can get deals on really anything you can think of and from top name brands. And like I said, every single week these will refresh with new products and new deals. So you definitely want to stay on top of this. If there's a product that you're looking to buy, keep checking back, and who knows, maybe it will go on sale soon. So if this is something you want to check out, which you definitely should, I'll leave a link down below to their top deals section so you can see what products you can get right now. And again, thanks to Best Buy for sponsoring this video. So yeah, the price of these headphones is the biggest weakness. It's just hard to recommend spending that much money on really anything that is kind of a passive experience. You're not using it to get work done, you're not doing anything like that. And you can also get very comparable versions for much less money. But if you think of it as a luxury item, then maybe you can start to justify it. But the price is too much. Find these on sale and then pick them up. Everything else bad with these headphones really goes back to that price though, and it's because the lack of features. First off, I mean, this case is abysmal. I actually had to dig it out for this video because I never use it. I don't use the case at all unless I'm going somewhere, which again is very rare these days. But the thing is flimsy, it doesn't really protect much. You've heard a bunch about this case many times, but it's much better to just go with third-party options. There's a bunch that have been released lately, and it would just be nice if Apple provided a case that actually worked and did everything really well like they do with the smaller AirPods, the AirPods Pro, AirPods 3. Those cases are excellent and they provide a purpose. This one is there to kind of just look like it's in a bag. And again, in a world where these are $250 headphones, okay, maybe the case isn't that great, fine, I can get over it. But at this price point, that's kind of inexcusable. And then the fact that you can't go wired straight out of the box, you have to buy that cable separately. That's just a small annoyance. Again, for the price, easily could have included that cable in the box. And really my biggest complaint in a day-to-day scenario is that it uses lightning and that it doesn't have some sort of wireless charging. This is really the only product I ever need to pull out a lightning cable for. My iPhone I charge wirelessly, my AirPods charge wirelessly, my MacBook uses USB Type-C or MagSafe. The iPad uses the Magic Keyboard, which is kind of like a charging docking station for me when I'm not using it. So that means lightning is mostly rid from my life. I never use it except when I need to charge these headphones. I know USB Type-C is probably too much to ask from an Apple accessory, but at least give me the option to somehow charge wirelessly. That would have been perfect. So far, sounds like these are probably not worth it, but I keep coming back to them and I use them every single day and I absolutely love them. And there's many reasons for that. First is the sound quality. These sound excellent for a wireless pair of headphones. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm an audiophile or anything like that, but I do appreciate good sounding audio, but I am the kind of person who, if it's gonna really inconvenience me and I need to have like a speaker set up and like be tethered and all that kind of stuff, I'm not into it. I want to have the best experience possible, but also continue on with my daily life, which means wireless audio. And up until these, I hadn't really heard anything as good or even near as good in the wireless space. I don't listen to a ton of music, but these headphones have me listening to more than I usually would. And I kind of use my iPad mini and these AirPods Max as like a iPod and headphone situation. It's like the 2021, 2022 of the iPod generation. And I like to just sit back and listen, and they're great. The sound quality is great. Could it be better for the price? Of course. And could it be slightly worse and bring the price way down? Of course. But where they are, I think sound quality is excellent. But then add on top of that the noise cancellation and the transparency mode. Now, I've used pretty much every pair of noise canceling headphones out there. Bose, Sony, Microsoft, I've used all the big names out there, and they're all very good. Like, noise cancellation these days is very solid. If whatever pair you get, it's gonna work, especially on like a plane or a train or something like that. Noise cancellation tech is really good. And that's no different here with the AirPods Max. The noise cancellation is excellent. Although I will say the seal around my ears maybe isn't quite as good as it could be. And I think that's mainly just because of my glasses. There's always this little tiny hole here on both sides of my head. So that lets in some noise. When I take my glasses off, it sounds a lot better. But you know, that is what it is, more of a personal issue. But noise cancellation is excellent. But what I find myself using more is the transparency mode. I kind of sit in transparency mode all the time with these headphones. I'm not a huge fan of being completely isolated. I like to know what's going on in my environment, you know, just in case. And the transparency mode is great for that because it really sounds like there's just nothing on your head. I can have a conversation, I can walk around, and it doesn't sound like I'm being impeded by anything. And it's so good that when I then go into my AirPods Pro and use the transparency mode, I feel like it's not quite on and there's something wrong with them, but I just have to remind myself that the AirPods Max transparency mode is just that good. It really feels like nothing is on your head. So having those features in combination with the excellent sound quality, it's a home run. And then add on top all the AirPods features like how easily they connect and being able to switch between devices. That is all great. I also like the crown and the buttons once you get used to where they are and how they work. Very easy to navigate and turn up the volume, play pause, go through transparency mode. That all works great. And lastly, I mean, the fact that I can use them for as long as I can. The battery life has held up and it is excellent. You know, it's rated at around 24 hours, which 24 hours is probably pushing it. I'm not sure I'm getting that much, but I can easily go through the day, multiple days. I'd say 3 to 4 days is my average, and then I'll have to plug it in. And that hasn't really diminished. That's what it used to be when I first got them, and that's what it is now. So that is great. Battery life has held up well. It's more than enough for really any travel you're gonna be doing, or sitting at your desk doing work for a long day, or even just having a really long listening session. These have you covered. So that comes back to the age-old question, should you actually buy these? Because these are the headphones that I enjoy using the most out of any headphones I think I've ever had. But at the same time, every time someone asks me whether they should consider getting a pair, it's just so hard to say yes. Now, if you can find them at a discount, you probably should consider it. If you're okay with paying $450, $470 for these, then you're gonna love them, I think. I think they're gonna be great. But if you have to pay retail for them, that's when it starts to get a little harder. But if you do decide to get them, I think you will love them. There have been reports of some people having issues. I know some people have had theirs just stop working. Seems like that's a relatively common problem. That hasn't happened to me. I haven't had any of those issues, luckily, but something to consider, especially again for that price point. And then there's also the thought of whether they're going to be making a second generation of this, and they're probably not going to. There was some word a little while ago that they never really intended to release these, but they were so far along in the development cycle that they kind of had to. They had to make some of their money back. There's no rumors about a new version of these coming out. I mean, it seems like this is a one and done, almost like the original HomePod. They'll probably discontinue it in a few years. And then who knows, maybe then you can get one for cheaper, or they'll probably actually get more expensive. So yeah, I mean, this is one of those products that I'm really conflicted on because I have them, I love them, and I want everyone to enjoy it, but it's hard to actually say to go out and buy them. But if you were worried about how these are gonna hold up after a year, whether or not they're going to still be worth it, they definitely are, as long as you're okay with that price.